Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we are in chapter 16, Daivasura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga, the yoga of distinction between divine and demoniac qualities. It is the central theme of all religions of the world and is presented in an allegorical way. In Vedas, there is a constant mention of battle. Devasur, gods and demons. Gods are called Sur, demons are called Asur. Those who know music, they understand by Sur, implying be in tune. Asur, out of tune. If you grow out of tune, head goes somewhere, hand goes somewhere, feet goes somewhere. Out of tune. Then it becomes Asuri movement. But when there is integral yoga being assimilated in your daily life, there is harmony between head, hand, feet, give you more in a action, emotion, will and reason. These four factors, they determine whether you are in harmony or not. If these four are together, then you are moving in a divine way. But if these four have conflict among themselves, head goes somewhere, in other words, your buddhi, intellect understands so many things, but your hands don't want to do anything about it. You see fire somewhere. Your intellect understands that fire will consume everything. But your hand is paralyzed. Your hand doesn't want to do anything. That I'm just giving a very gross example. And just to give you another understanding, in all religions, Christianity, Jesus movement, Satan movement. Islam, Allah and Iblis. Persian, Ahur Mazd and Ahriman. In Mahabharata, Pandavas and Kauravas. Without going further, we have already commenced describing Daivi Sampat, the divine qualities. The first verse mentioned 9 qualities, and all those I have given some insight. I will just recite for you so that it's the more you bring to your mind those qualities, you would just repeat those qualities. They are like divine names. To also understand, people talk of darshan of God, and so many stories develop. Darshan of God has its own different ways, different people. But the most secure darshan of God is developing divine qualities within you. If these qualities are developing, God, you are coming closer and closer to God. And God is coming closer to you, whichever way you say it. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Abhayam Sattva Sanshuddhi Jnana Yoga Vyavastiti Dhanam Damascha Yajnascha Swadhyaya Tapa Arjavam. 9 qualities are mentioned in the very first verse. Abhayam, fearlessness. Sattva Sanshuddhi, purity of heart. Nirmal Chit, Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti, firmly devoted to wisdom in 2 aspects, theory and practice. Theoretical aspect of wisdom, jnana. Practical aspect that allows the wisdom to be assimilated, called yoga, in this context. Dhanam damascha yajnascha, dana, being udar, generous, charitable. Dhamma, controlling the mind and senses. Yajna, in a very broad sense, yajna is paropakar, doing good to others. More restricted sense, anything that sublimates the gross aspect of your personality into something divine. Anger is a short-circuited energy. If you correct it, it becomes love. You have as if sacrificed the animal anger, and out of the yajna has come love. So yajna term is a mystical term, and its broad aspect is paropakar. Be good, do good. Swadhyaya, literally implying studying scriptures. Very literally, studying the self. Swa is self. Open the book of yourself and look into the pages. That involves study scriptures under the guidance of experts, guru, doing japa, practice of meditation, all that is implied in the term swadhyaya. Tapa, disciplining your mind, body, and speech, manasa, vacha, karmana. Disciplining in order to attain enlightenment, in order to promote bhakti, and bhakti leading to mukti, liberation. Arjava, it refers to simplicity, straightforwardness. But straightforwardness implies being harmonized, well attuned in thought, word, and deed. If thought goes somewhere else and deed goes somewhere else, you are a hunchback. You are not straight. Children, the straightforwardness appears very clear, childlike simplicity. But that requires a profound spiritual movement to integrate yourself. Otherwise, you become childish, not childlike. Being childish, that's contrary to your spiritual movement. Second verse, that's where we have been in the last talk. Ahimsa satyam akrodha tyagah shantirapaishunam daya bhuteshu aloluptvam mardavam hrirachapalam. Ahimsa, non-violence. It's a very broad term. Practice of ahimsa, all of you know, is not to hurt, anyone by thought, word, and deed. Why not to hurt? Because all are Vishwabandhu. Your family, try to add up by mathematics. Just 10 embodiments of yours. How big was your family? 10 embodiment back. How many people were your near and dear ones? Add to that some other 8 years, 7, 6, and so forth. It will come in the terms of millions. But without going through all that trouble, understand the entire universe and all jivas are one family. And develop a heart that can really express a divine prayer. Sarve bhavantu sukhina. May all be happy. In that all, no one is excluded. If you are moving towards that type of a heart, then it's called practice of ahimsa. And many things are involved in day-to-day life. Little things. If you enjoy hurting others, you are not practicing ahimsa. And I have already talked about it enough. Satyam, truthfulness. Satyameva jayate. Divine self is the truth. And by allowing your higher self to overcome the lower self, you come closer to truth. Asato ma sadgamaya. Truth, satya. It is modification of the term sat, absolute existence. Satchidananda, that's sat. All names and forms change. The sat does not. Sat is absolute. That again is, in practical life, how to express yourself that satyam vada, priyam vada, na vada satyam apriyam. The scripture says, speak the truth, but don't become too thoughtless. Speaking the truth requires your mind also to figure out the truth you are going to speak. Is it prompted by your ego to hurt the person? Literally and legally, it will be perfectly truthful. But that is not real truth. The highest truth, if you want to speak, Aham Brahmasmi. You are Brahman. All this is Brahman. I will not go further in that direction. Akrodha. Do not allow your mind to fall into irritability, anger, wrath that tortures all your face. Eyes are tortured most. The blood begins to go out through the eyes. And you do all the torture to yourself to torture others. Stupidity at its height. The situation that arouses anger, if you could, change it in expression of love. Someone passed by and your wonderful cup of tea was shattered. I'm just giving ordinary illustration. Now you have choices. You can throw the entire desk or table at the person. Hurt the person who did it, or you smile at the person. How are you? How happy am I? Mm-hmm. And person says, I broke your glass. It doesn't matter. You are more than glass. And you arouse love instead of provoking anger. Look at your own heart. What happens? And look at your eyes in the mirror. What a change. Tyaga, practice of detaching yourself from worldly values. Detach and attach. Detaching from the world, detaching from the philosophy of eat, drink, be merry. That's called tyaga. Shanti, keeping the mind relaxed. Nirvikar, not dominated by anger, greed, jealousy, perverted desire, and so forth. All this is great ideals before you, and you go on developing them day by day. If you failed, it doesn't matter. Don't spend time regretting over it. How many times have I failed? Just move on. Because the positive wins. If you stay with negative, constantly thinking about how can I control it, and what this negative is going to do to me, and all the negativity making your mind sadder and sadder, that's not the real way. But developing a simple insight that God is within you. And you are meant to develop all those divine qualities because you are a ray of God. Negative qualities, no matter how terrible they may seem to be, they are not real. The real in you is good qualities because you are soul. And you are bound to attain your essential realization. Who am I? That's the purpose of your existence. Apaishunam. Apaishunam means not gossiping against others, being free of dosha drishti. The moment you see someone, immediately find some little defects and start talking, whispering to others, look, this person comes, he doesn't know how to put his necktie on. I'm joking. People go on gossiping and gossiping. As I have pointed out to you, when finger pointing, point one finger to others, 3 fingers point to you. God has tricked you. Bhuteshu daya, daya, compassion. Gita uses the term Atma Upamya, which means put yourself in others' shoes. If someone is doing something strange, instead of judging the person in a negative way, try to place yourself in the position of the person. Another point, I've already given this simple illustration of the teeth and the tongue. Teeth bite your tongue. You do not develop any animosity towards the teeth. All people are a part of one organism, one divine personality. And that profound feeling towards others must develop. And daya is that quality that allows you to go on possessing broad-heartedness, generous-heartedness. Aloluptvam. Greed is described as loluptva. When you see an animal dragging this, shaking the tongue, it's called lolup. Lacking divine insight, people continue to be fascinated by objects of the world. And there is constant desire, may I enjoy more and more, and you look into the calendar or whatever, see, do I have life enough? How wonderful it would be if I had more, 50 or a little more. I could plan to go all over the world, feast in all the hotels. I'm joking, but to try to understand. Another point, satsanga. As your mind is drawn to satsangatve nisangatvam, good association, and begin to enjoy spiritual-based teachings and sadhana, then this loluptva aspect moves away from you. Next quality is mardavam. Mardavam means being humble. Mridu. Sanskrit word mridu means graciously gentle. Komal vritti. Now we are coming to the 10th quality. Hri. Sanskrit word hri. Or just say Ri. It's not Hari, Ri. To be ashamed of doing anything that is indignified. Generally, people do indignified things. And when they find that somebody has found it out, they try to cover it up with tremendous ego. I will not elaborate that. Another point is, your conduct should be according to maryada, social maryada. Maryada is translated as rectitude, implying, just like think of a Hindu family, a religious family, how they relate to each other. If you are a student going to school, you will touch the feet of your mother and receive blessings. Touch the feet of your father, receive blessings. You will bow down to your elder brothers. All I'm giving you just details. That doesn't mean that you take all the time in just doing that. Even a simple gesture of goodwill towards all That's called Maryada. Otherwise, you wake up with a bully head. I'm going to explore advanced mathematics. These parents of mine, they don't know that. And without expressing any regard or devotion, you move on. I'm giving a crude illustration. That's without Maryada. A family that doesn't have that kind of rectitude, people don't grow up as profound personalities. And that has been the big trouble in the world. Just being successful in business, in holding a lot of money, that's not humanity. Human values implies developing divine values, spiritual values. Achapalam, absence of fickle-mindedness. That's another. Fickle mind means you take up a project and hardly you started that project, you leave it. Take up another project. And you have gone to some extent and then you leave it. एक ही साधे सब सधे, सब साधे सब जाए. Take up one determined style of life, one goal before you, and put all your energy and go on working towards it. Not moving from one job to another, from one style of life to another style of life, but developing persistence, patience, and one-pointed movement. We are entering into the third verse. Tejah kshamadhrite shaucham adroho natimanita bhavanti sampadam devim abhijatasya bharata. Teja, literally Teja means effulgence. And to understand Teja, if you are developing profound qualities, quality of the heart, good feeling, generosity, and especially purity of mind, it allows you to discover a profounder aspect of your soul. It allows you to have an insight into the amazing strength that lies in your heart. Your soul is a ray of God. And therefore, movement towards soul is movement towards God Himself. In other words, if you are practicing japa, meditation, satsanga, and you have a profound degree of control over your kama, krodha, lobha, the type of energy that develops within you is indescribable. And it shows up radiating around your personality. It's like aroma coming from a flower. Even a flower doesn't know it. And it catches many bees. I'm talking about so many. Its effect reaches out to so many personalities. If that type of development comes, people talk about personality. effulgence of personality. That's teja. Kshama. Term kshama means forgiving. Someone has caused a hurt and you just forgive the person. But try to understand kshama in a more profound way. If you forgive and you go on recording it in your diary, how many people you have forgiven? And what type of error you have forgiven? And each time you meet, you remind the person. So that is not forgiveness. So therefore they are saying forgive and forget. And developing udara vritti. Udara vritti means when a person has done something wrong, try to understand what caused the person to do that type of thing. Say, for example, I will give you a very simple illustration. You meet a friend of yours, and the friend on that day doesn't even look at you, keeps his head down. And you develop the idea, this person has become my enemy. He has joined my inimical group. And you keep your mind angry, agitated. But next day, the same person comes and says, forgive me, I had a severe headache. I didn't even see you around. So try to understand, if anybody is not bowing down to you, he may have a headache. Develop a tender heart. And again, I will remind to you some of this Kabira's saying, Jo toko kaanta buai, kahi boi tu fool. Inimical person plans to do things that are harmful for you. But you go out of the way without the knowledge of the person, without the knowledge of the enemy, to do good to him. Go out of the way. Toko fool ke fool hai. For you there is all blessings. Wako hai tirsul. That statement again is not understood by people. The statement is that your enemy will have worse time. You have revenged on your enemy. But the real meaning is your enemy will be free of the triad. Triad is the disease of the soul. Triad is seer, seen and sight. Consciousness that has become restricted. If you dream, three things go wrong. The dream subject is not real. The dream world is not real. The experiences of the dream are not real. Trishul has to go to cut these three illusions to wake you up. And that's the type of Trishul you promote. In other words, even towards your enemy, you have caused a movement to God realization. Inject in your enemy that aspiration. Sabko sanmati de Bhagwan. It's one of the best prayers. Next quality, dhriti. Dhriti means patience, as well as presence of mind. When you develop faith in God, and faith begins to strengthen, your mind acts according to situation. It acts in the perfect manner. That quality is implied in the term dhriti. Broad meaning of dhriti is to have persistence and patience. For attaining success, that's what you need. The next Daivi quality is Shauch. Shauch term is purity. Practice of purity, in a broad sense, it is always, every quality is practiced three ways. Manasa, Vacha, Karmana. Through your mind, through your thoughts, through your speech, through your action. But to have more insight into the term Shauch, drawing your attention to Raj Yoga Sutras. Shauch is described of two types, external and internal. External means physical purity. Shauchat Swanga Jugupsa. Parah Asamsarga. If you practice Shauch, you will begin to develop distaste for being embodied. And that attitude will be directed to others also. Parai asamsarga. Physically and practically you will meet people, hug them, etc., etc. But in a deeper level, you will not view them as bodies, but as souls. And turning to your own understanding, you become more and more aware that how distant you are from your body. Body is not you. And never to be again in the same predicament. No embodiment. It's very difficult for human mind to get rid of the illusion of body, deha dhyas. And that's in a healthy manner. Sometimes people are led to very great sorrow and dejection, and then they begin to hate their body. But here, from advanced point of view, your body is healthy and everything is wonderful. But your mind goes on understanding the body is only an instrument. If that happens, then your body is really healthy. That's why disease is called dis-ease. If your body is healthy, you don't feel the presence of the body, as if you would have no body. And then there is antar shuddhi, implying purity in your mind. And just I will mention those points. Sattva shuddhi, chit, the whole mental process undergoes a purifying process. This is Raj Yoga statement. Sattva shuddhi, saumanasya, mind becomes suman. Suman term used for flowers. Mind becomes joyous. Saumanasya. Aikagriya. Mind becomes one-pointed. Indriya jayatva. Develops a sense of being master of the senses. Atma darshan yogatva. And you develop the qualification for realizing the self. All those points are related to this term, simply shauch. External shauch referring to just body. Internal shauch, washing away the dirt of your mind with a soap that is mystical. And I will hold off at this stage. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukum Bandhana Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.